everyone, and welcome to another episode of Respecting the Beer. My name is Gary Arndt. With me again, as usual, are the good doctors Bob Fleshman and Allison McCoy. And back again on the show, we have... should never say his name again.
Billy Duplanty.
Billy Duplanty. From Young Blood Beer Company in Madison, Wisconsin. Last couple episodes, we've talked about how you guys got started. We talked about, last episode, a lot of your different beers and your naming conventions, which are unique. This episode, we want to kind of talk about where you go from here and what's the future. What do you guys want to be? You just mentioned, I think it was in the last episode, like New Glarus. They're doing a $56 million expansion. Do you want to be New Glarus? Do you want to? I mean, because, and I say that because, yes, it's big and successful, but it also has its own set of headaches.
Oh yeah,
when you scale.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did mention in the last pod that I think our ceiling for Youngblood as a brand is about 5,000 barrels, and I mean that. I think it's the right number for a brand like us to still be creative, have a release schedule that's relevant, have things changing, and doing it with purpose instead of just doing it to do it. There are only so many ingredients and ways to show them off, and we don't ever want to become somebody who just goes through the motions. Like there have been a couple quarters not recently, but like last year, there were a couple quarters because we were so busy. We kind of went to the well and grabbed some recipes that, none of us were excited to make and none of us were excited to sell, but it fit a style in our books that needed to be out there. And so we just did it. And, I talked to my partners. I'm like, we can't do that anymore. We have to make sure that it's still exciting. We can't lose that passion and that excitement. Was it
not exciting just because you did it before? Or?
No, it was just not exciting. It's like we released like an Imperial Amber or something like that. And it was like dry hopped with Centennial or something like simple. And this is just for instance, a beer that I'm more than happy to consume and sell. But like when people are looking at our stuff, they're like, well, I had that beer last year. I had that beer last year. Oh, I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one. And we were not being as judicious as we should have when we were selecting.
So they're coming to you with an expectation of having that new cutting edge thing.
So like the tightrope we walk right now is bring back the things that they actually really want us to bring back, that they're pissed that we only made one time last year, and giving them something new to look forward to in the future as well.
You said 5,000 barrels was your goal. Where are you at now?
I think we're at like somewhere between 35 and 3,800.
Cool. Where are we?
Third of that.
Cool.
Yeah. How do you track is it just anecdotally what people want? Is it sales data?
Yeah, we have a lot of data. So we use VIP. We can see the rate of sale on certain styles. We also do a lot of pre-selling. So I go out with a sheet just in like the 7 Milwaukee counties, and I take the temperature in Milwaukee as to what people are thinking, and that that's what determines the size of the brew that we do. So it's like, oh my God, we had a pumpkin beer this year that was only slated to be a 10-barrel batch. It was called Pumpkin Pie Haircut Freak. That's a Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber reference. Right? Pumpkin Pie Haircut Freak. So like we pre-sold that thing out, and we pre-sold like 22 quarter barrels of it, which for us that's monstrous. Like that's a big pre-sell on one beer that was a pumpkin beer, and it was supposed to be a 10-barrel batch. And we're like, well, we want this in cans too. So like instead of just doing the 10-barrel batch, we bumped that up to a 20, and it's all gone already. So like it is nice to be able to it's
but a headache nonetheless.
It is. So like we kind of live and die by like 2 weeks each quarter of like pre-selling and ordering the stuff that we need in order to do it. We've got a nice cadence down. And it's just going to continue on that way. But, there are things we want to bring back. Like we always want to do something weird for 420 because we're stoner adjacent people. We're, dank and drippy vibes is on our masthead. That's what we are. And we always want to do something for that. We want to do something. We do an Irish Red for St. Patty's Day. It's called a Group of 10 Separate Tabs. And, it's stuff like that where it's like fun to play with the serving industry. And like we did another beer called, Service Industry versus Karen Army. Like We like to play with the
yeah.
people that buy beer from us, as well as people that buy beer from the store from us. You know, there's that big divide. But sorry, I talk a lot and I get off topic. Where were we?
No worries.
My nose bleeding.
We're almost
Good
up to this
God.
Pilsner, aren't we?
Are we? Okay.
Oh yeah. So this is the beer that is about to be cracked open right now is Stenny's Lager. So this has been a labor of love for our dear friends over at Stenny's Tavern in Milwaukee and Pewaukee. We first made it for them like 4 years ago. It was called Pond Hockey Beer. And it was a different beer completely. So we've been trying to make a beer specifically for them because they go up and play in the Eagle River Pond Hockey Tournament. We have 2 teams that go up there too, the young blood teams. And so we were like, let's make a beer for that. So now they get a bunch of cases and a bunch of barrels. It's on draft, basically hockey season, the NHL season at the Stenny's Taverns. And apparently accidentally available at some accounts regionally as well because it slipped through distro and they accidentally released it. So, yeah, delicious Chinook Lupa Max dry hop Pilsner.
Fantastic.
This is what I like to drink.
Oh, yes.
This is the thing.
I like how its name is just collab.
Oh, yeah. So we have a very proud history of our collabs. We love collaborating with people. We think it's how we got out there in the market. 1840 and Eagle Park, like right away when we were, and Lion's Tail, right when we were starting, we're like, we want to do a collab to help launch, and get our name out there, and they all helped.
I think that was actually my first exposure to y'all. Was there was an Eagle Park Youngblood combo, so I always associated y'all together at that point. I mean, but then quickly learned not. But that was our first.
Fun fact: all of our first beers were packaged on a borrowed Eagle Park Seamer.
Nice.
Because ours hadn't arrived yet. And they had theirs, but they weren't opening the Muskego location for a minute. So like, just use it. So we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. This is a good beer.
It's classic. I love this.
Does collaborating with another brewery work? I ask this because,
Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be fun to work with another brewery, but from a business standpoint, you got to split things, and one side may end up doing most of the heavy lifting.
To us, I mean,
how do you approach it? Maybe is a better question.
So we do a thing for the Great Taste every year called Clabafesta Save-a-thon. We do 12 different collaborations, one for each draft line at our tap room, and it's all regional breweries. For the weeks leading up to it, it is an absolute headache because they're coming into town, they're doing the brew with us, we're spending time with them, and it's some days back to back. It's like, hey, I'm with Lion's Tail this week, Eagle Park this week, but it is worth it to us because it's kind of like part of our DNA. We want to be part of the culture, and what is more culture relevant than doing like a collaboration with your pals and making beer? It's like garage brewing at its ethos. You're just like getting together, having a couple beers, and truthfully, is the juice for the squeeze? Yes, it is, because you're getting to hang out with somebody like it's not just I stopped by your tap room, I had a beer, it was cool, thanks for hanging out, man. It's like you get to share ideas and concepts and thoughts and just talk about the business in general, and you get to do that enough. It's like it's awesome.
And sometimes you go there and vice versa.
Correct.
Where tanks are
So it's
available.
not necessarily a monetary thing for you guys.
It's never monetary.
Well, and there's the intangible bit
marketing.
about when you get together with other brewery owners, like you can talk shop better than you can talk shop with most people because you can just like look them in the eye and be like, have you slept lately? And they're like,
no, me either. Let's be weird.
Yeah. When people tune in to Facebook to see what's happening with the collab, they're looking to see that each other's throwing the grains of the hops in the kettle and stuff. But that's not really what's happening in a collaboration. We're really talking about the business if we're even in the room at the same time at all.
It's really helpful to have that kind of network.
And if you really want to break it down, the collaboration happens months beforehand.
Absolutely.
Because you've already mapped out the recipe, you've mapped out the ingredients that you want to use, and you both feel good about putting your name on something together. And that's the
So I guess is the grain in at that point really just the publicity stunt of it?
Oh yeah. You definitely take pictures.
Let me drop hops in. There have been times where we like get to a place and they're like, "Oh, we already brewed it." We're like, "Well,
right." We've done the same
throw
thing.
hops in the other in this beer.
They're like, just have a beer and hang out and and look pretty. Like every year we do one with Venture down in Tosa. I love those guys a lot. I'll go over there and they'll they'll jump into whatever. Just be like, yeah, the beer's like done. Let's go get tacos. It's like, you guys can just call me and we'll go get tacos. Like, I don't need to come brew a beer for tacos. Yeah. But like, you know, it is more of a meeting of the minds, and you do like, you do learn things. Like Kyle's asks like how certain yeasts work, and you know, you bounce those ideas off each other. We're going to be doing one at Drecker. We're going to Drecker in December. We're going to do one with them, and that's really cool. And we're making an IPA, and people are going to be like, why isn't this a sour? And I don't care. I love this. Right. So we're doing an IPA with them.
That's a good name. Why isn't this a sour? Of an IPA.
Yeah. But like we met them when we were in Yakima. We were out there rubbing hops together, and you know, just talking over.
I want to get on
things.
Oh, train.
Yeah. I got it. I've never been. Yeah. It's awesome. You'll have so much fun. You specific.
Oh, I know.
Sorry. Side note. I'm the king of tangents. We rubbed a hop at Siegel Ranch Farms. It was one of their experimental hops. They had like one vine of this, and we cracked it open. And before he even rubbed it, it smelled like grape Big League Chew. And all of us were just like salivating. We're like, what is this thing you've done? He's like, yeah, that's just one cone. And it tastes like, smells like grape Big League Chew. We're like, we'll take it. He's like, no, you won't. It's like a plant right now. So you're going to have to wait a little while. But it was really, really cool. Yeah. Stuff like that is really neat.
Absolutely.
But those are the conversations that like take place later when you're having a beer and you just run into the guys at Drecker because they're at one of the hop suppliers and they're like, yeah, we should do a collaboration. Then we get a call and they're like, yeah, we'll come out to Fargo. It's awesome. And, you know, you get friends. It's not just Wisconsin. I love everybody. I want to work with everybody. We're going to be doing one with Cocoon. So we got to get you on the list.
Oh, you're twisting my arm. I got you.
Yeah. Let's go. But stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now.
Committing right now. Well, we need a style. We could talk about styles a little bit if we were to collaborate.
I don't think we should talk about the style right now. I think Kyle would be very offended talking about, especially a brand like McFleischmann that has like phenomenal traditional stuff. Like, I guarantee he's going to want to do a twist on a traditional.
And I'm down with that.
Yeah. So we'll do
stay tuned. A slushy imperial. No, I got you.
A slushy Belgian IPA.
So somewhere in the middle there. Yeah, with THC. Yep.
Sounds good.
What else did you guys want to cover while we got Billy here?
Well, catch.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah, here comes Allison back to the table.
Yeah, back to the table. So you've been open now for 4 years, little less.
A little more.
A little more than 4 years. Okay. So.
Been working on it that long.
So advice to past you. Like what mistake did you make? And you're like, I never do that again.
Yeah.
Because boy, do we have some, but we've already shared that on previous podcasts.
Or wow, I was a genius and this all worked out.
That's always good.
3 things.
There we go.
Have a brew house on location. Make sure if your brewery is in a basement, you have a lift, and never put marshmallow in an IPA.
Perfect.
Here.
That was an expensive dump. We tried to fix a beer and we added toasted marshmallows to it, and it was an abomination.
And I don't want to
literally toasted marshmallows.
Yes.
How did you clean that?
It was bad. It was all bad.
Yeah.
This is topical. I don't want, today the news came out that Mobcraft is selling / closing. It's hard to know with the future, but they do a lot of experimental stuff. I have a story about Mobcraft. I know him. Everyone knows Henry in the beer world that owns Mobcraft, but he was telling me about a time that they were making a Pringles beer, a Pringles IPA, pale, whatever. Like the
Pringles is in the chip?
Yeah.
Or like the chip product? Because I don't even think it's a chip.
And no one ordered or their shipment was late, but they were already brewing. So Henry got in his car and bought all the Pringles in all of Greater Milwaukee at the Sam's Clubs and the Woodman's. And I'm thinking, this is the most druggy situation. He's pulling to the back, popping his trunk, getting Pringles all over town at like 10 at night before they close so they can get it into their brew that day. So when I hear something like the marshmallows going, it just screams Mobcraft to me. It just screams their approach. I love it.
You ever remember the movie Independence Day?
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
He has this quote that is probably applies to brewers. You were so preoccupied with whether or not you could You didn't stop to think if they should.
Oh, that wasn't Independence Day. That was Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. But
He
it
was
still
in
works.
the Independence Day too, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah.
He was,
Yes.
So we were all there with you. Yeah.
He was a hunk in Jurassic Park, but he was
You
a
can tell how
nerd.
old we are now. Like, that was Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You nailed it though. That's the sentiment.
I've used that to describe that beer more than once, so I'm so happy you said that. You have no idea. That's incredible.
I mean, Pringles IPA just doesn't. I like Pringles.
Wasn't an IPA?
Well, that's what as I'm saying this. If Henry listens
At that
to this,
point, why would you not?
Do you
just
remember
call
what it
an
was?
IPA?
Maybe it wasn't.
I'm sorry, the beer style doesn't matter. We could be talking Pringles Lager, Pringles Stout. It doesn't.
Well, no, because if you do it as a stout, you could at least lean into like that potato sweetness and like add that over the salty. You could add that salt kind of to the composition.
This is the mind of a craft brewer.
Yeah. So like there are things there. I've had sweet potato. I've had potato in beer before.
But it's like potato product. It's not real. It's
puree.
Like,
but that's what Pringles are though. They're shredded and mashed.
Right.
Yeah.
And pressed and all the water is extracted
a
from
Pringle is if you chewed a potato chip, spit it out, and then put it into a mold.
Yep.
And let it dry.
That's basically it. Yeah. Yeah, they shred it, they mush it, and they bake it.
Spitting it out. But yeah,
Yeah, there's no human saliva on it. But
that's another beer
I
style.
think you could certainly do the bacon IPA.
Yeah.
I think you could do a Rauch beer with it, a little smoked beer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can definitely do.
Or is it the Grotzer, the ham and cheese beer?
Yeah, he'd suggest ham and cheese.
Yeah. It's like the salty.
because there's
The
smoke
thing
and
is,
there's salt.
I mean, there's been a lot of fruity beers. Everything surrounding a carbohydrate. So how do you? But I've never even seen, and perhaps I just haven't seen enough. Someone taking something like bacon, which is it's a protein
beers.
and a fat, and putting that into.
Sometimes the smoked beers are passed off as bacon beers because of
My
how
artery
bacon-
Because of
reaction.
that bacon flavor. I do think that I don't know if this is real, but it was on the label, so I assume that there was some sort of bacon in there. But Rogue did a maple bacon donut beer, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. It was one of their big bottles.
Why do they need to add
And it
the
was like
donut part?
it was like a Voodoo Donuts or something like that. There's like a big donut company that was known for that in like by
Portland.
Rogue, in Portland, and they just took their ingredients and they made that into a stout.
We did a
I'm
one-off
pretty certain.
one-off stout when we opened our second year, maybe within the first year being open.
Oh my gosh,
It was called
yeah.
Sticky Fingers.
Sticky finger.
And it now feels like a Youngblood name all of a sudden.
Sticky Fingers?
But it was
peanut butter and-
jalapeno, peanut butter, and bacon.
Yeah.
So we did that. And
But how'd you get the bacon in? That's what
we actually put
A tincture of vodka
we
bacon,
made
right?
some kind of a tincture with actual bacon and got the flavor in
In
there.
vodka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it worked.
Well, it worked. We sold
Sold
it.
out fast. The fastest one. We had a whole bunch of stouts for that month.
I think it would work. Maybe we work that into the collab.
Okay, so no marshmallows in an IPA, but you do have marshmallows in your Husky Hustle.
The Husky Hustle, yes.
So how did that go?
It's delicious. It just tastes like hot chocolate but cold.
That sounds really good.
you still need to do the 20 million year
Let's
old.
do it.
Oh yeah, the amber. Yes.
Yes, I have that amber still sitting on our.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was in Lithuania before I started this. I traveled.
That is the beer name. So, anyways, I was in Lithuania. Is the beer name? I know you're sitting on gold here.
And it's a big amber producing region. And you can buy these like shards of amber, which is like
Amber, like the Jurassic
garbage,
Park amber, not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
not the
Like literal
water amber.
Amber.
20 million year old tree sap,
Complete with
dug up.
mosquito.
Oh my god!
And so you could buy a bag of like the crumbs that's left over when they're doing like jewelry amber. I got a bag of it for $20, and I was told you could infuse vodka with it. That what you do is you crush it up, you put it in vodka, you leave it like in a dark place for 3 months, and then you get amber infused vodka, which is what I was told. And I was going to do this, and I just never did it. And I had this bag of amber, and I eventually brought it into Bobby, and I was like,
Tell you what,
do something
If
with
we
it.
do a collaboration and it works with your brewer, let's squeeze that in there somewhere. Feels like
Oh my
it's got to
God.
be.
I think it needs to be pulverized down to a dust, maybe, just to increase the surface area.
I have a chemistry lab access. I can do this. Go team. Let's do it.
And then and the name of it is, what did you say?
And it's-
that we picked up on. I was in Lithuania.
So I was in Lithuania. Anyway, so I was in Lithuania.
But it's tree sap, which is, sugar, I would guess, but it's
Old school
20
sugar.
million year old
Yeah.
tree sap.
That's insane.
Take that, Sam Calgione, which makes the oldest beer
The
style
Oh,
and-
the
of the
Midas Touch
ingredients.
one.
Yeah. Well, no, even older than that.
Oh yeah.
We might.
We got
beat
some
that.
Husky Hustle going on now.
So remind us, this is
It's a milk stout with basically a hot chocolate mix and
Nice.
marshmallows.
This was going to go well with my donuts
Allison will
over
hate
here.
that.
Passing it around.
Take one down. Pass
This
it
is like
around.
a Swiss miss.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think we did it right too. It's not over the top with the Swiss Miss. It's actually quite beery still.
Yeah, maintaining beer flavor in your beer is important.
It is most of the time.
It's definitely chocolatey. Wow, especially on the back end.
Yeah.
So my 5-year-old is listening in. She's sitting just over there, and you said it's definitely chocolatey, and that's the only time that she pops back up.
Which
She's like,
means she's recording every other
She
word.
is.
She's responding to one.
Someday we'll have her interviewed on here. Oh my gosh, this is delicious.
I swear it a lot in front of your child. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, she's raised in a bar.
Yeah.
fair. It's fair.
Okay, so this is again Husky Hustle milk stout with hot chocolate and marshmallows, 8.5%. Ooh,
Oh yeah. Kyle loves to do milk stouts because he thinks that, and I think he's right. You can pack a lot of flavor and thin out the body a little bit to where you can actually drink a whole can of this instead of needing a 10-ounce bar.
David, our producer, just messaged me that he thought you said no marshmallows in beer.
oh no marshmallows
No
in an
marshmallows
IPA.
and IPAs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
We all like attack him now.
There shouldn't have been already.
And then maybe a hazy.
No, trust me.
Not even.
So wait, so marshmallow is actually a legit plant, right? I'm looking at you, Gary.
Marshmallows are, but the new ones are just spun sugar. It's not.
Okay, because you can make like real marshmallow.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never thought about marshmallows.
A friend of mine has
Everything,
made-
everywhere, daily. You get the history of marshmallows.
marshmallows, dude.
marshmallow. Yeah, it is.
Mallow, yeah.
That's why it's called a marshmallow.
It was
Yeah.
like harvested or something.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm learning so much. I'm not sure it's going to help my brewing, but I'm learning so much.
Do y'all ever do like ice cream floats with these things?
We have. What did we do it with? Where was I? Maybe it was just a fever dream. No, I'm fairly certain I was at an event and we did something with it where we actually had a stout and then they also cooked down, I can't remember who this was. They cooked down one of our sours into a syrup
Oh wow!
over the top of it too.
that'd
So
be
it was
good.
like a chocolatey float with vanilla ice cream and then a drizzle.
Yeah, Bobby did that with one of our. Actually, wasn't it the original 547 that you did this with?
This would be my suggestion for not to do.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Yeah.
He couldn't eat for like a week.
So what I did, I made
You
an
made
ice cream with it.
Yeah, no, you made an IPA reduction, and so
Yeah.
you took the IPA and it was double IPA, and you reduced
Drizzled
it
that
down,
over ice cream.
and you wanted it over ice cream, but like it was just like pure hop oil alpha acid. And so he puts it on his. He's like takes a bite and he puts it on his tongue. He's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And like
I may be the only one that tasted
The
that. I probably
only-
just threw it right away.
that aftertaste that you have, the residual
Oh, it was
oils,
all resin.
they
It
were
was
on
so
there for
bad.
like a week and a half.
Yeah.
You couldn't taste anything for like.
So-
Classic
Oh my
mad
God.
scientist guy
I was
just being like,
inspired
oh.
by an IPA that paired well with
It
the
was
dessert.
so
and
gross.
went home and did
It was
this.
so
It's
gross.
terrible. Yeah, never concentrate in IPA. That was not
As we
good.
hear the 547 bell downstairs.
Yeah.
Even the
Yeah.
547 bell gods are like, no, don't do that.
A lot of cocoa in this.
Oh, yeah.
Really strong baker's kind of cocoa.
Yep, cacao nibs. That's what we used in this. We've used in the past chalaca, which is like a liquefied
I'm
version
looking
of
at
it.
a couple bags of it back there.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it tastes good. Kyle hates it. He's
Yeah.
like, it's too sweet. It's not. He doesn't like it. He would rather.
Well, there
use
are
the
two
nibs.
different ones. They have an unsweet and a sweet.
So
I mean, for this, I
Yeah.
think these are just regular unsweet cacao nibs.
Yeah.
I have a rookie question. What makes it a pastry stout? I'm looking at the brewers.
So I'll say from our standpoint, anything that has pastry in it, typically it's like we're adding things like marshmallows or we're adding graham cracker or something of that flavor. Chocolate also.
Okay.
Like if we're actually adding chocolate to it like that, that's what we would classify as.
And then I would add to that, you generally start with a really, really, really sugary wort. And then you ferment it down to a reasonable level, but you leave a ton of sugar behind. So you have an 8% beer, but it's a really sweet beer at the same time.
Yep.
Cool.
Then you can add in stuff on top.
I don't know.
Terrible yields.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Double mash. We can talk about that later. But yeah, there's all these things.
It's really good. Is there something about you add lactose in it or something? Or is that with
we I believe there is lactose in there.
Okay. Oh, it says milk stout right there. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So lactose also would go into that pastry level thing. We do have trace amounts of that in our fruit punch stuff though too to help balance our sour. But it's like for like a 40 barrel batch, it's like not even a full bag. So it's really dialed.
Yeah.
I'm just going to comment on the label. I love y'all's branding. This one in particular, though, stands out to me. It's this gorgeous can with the Youngblood Beer Company right in the middle. And then it's got this really great cartoon hot chocolate with the marshmallows and the hot steam coming off the top. And it reminds me that Bobby asked me years ago, he's like, describe a beer you want me to make. And I was like, yeah, I want it to smell like chocolate and then taste like vanilla ice cream. Yeah. And I want to have that feeling or experience of, that hot drizzle, hot syrup, chocolate syrup on the cold ice cream, that hot to cold transition.
Yes.
I want that experience in a beer. And he did it. You brewed.
It was a porter, right?
Yeah, it was Second Chance Porter that we won second place national homebrew competition with. And we haven't even brought that one back. No. But I had that.
It's an award-winning beer. What do you guys think?
for memory.
It was named after a dog and she died. And we just did sentimental. And anyway, that exact same experience has been captured in this. So that brought back all those memories of that other beer, which is a totally different beer, but the experience is right there. With the label on top of that.
So all this, I've got 75 ideas for a collab. So that'll have to be a future episode when we get the brewer involved. And
hell yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And I really hope it's Caldwell whenever when I was in Lithuania. Whatever the hell you just said.
Anyways,
although he starts every conversation.
It's on here. So anyways, I was in Lithuania and respect the wine in the box. Those are the two. I did get this one last night. We're doing Movember right now. So we're raising money for, prostate cancer awareness and suicide prevention. And it's us and a bunch of different breweries in Milwaukee. But we were at Bernhardt's doing this. And somebody said, I don't know who they were talking to. It definitely wasn't me, but it was like a sexy Jacques Cousteau thing going on. So that was the most recent one before I arrived here today.
Well, I got to say, when we started recording these episodes, I had a question as to why you were an experimental brewery, and now I completely get it. Makes perfect sense. Yeah. And that concludes this episode of Respecting the Beer. Make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player and join the Facebook group to get updates between the episodes.
Tell them about the Patreon.
Do we have a Patreon? Oh, yes, we do have a Patreon. And you can support the show over on Patreon.
Hell yeah.
And you can get the links to all this stuff in the show notes. Until next time, please remember to respect the beer.
Sorry. No, I was excited. I've literally never had a reason to say the word Patreon, and I listen to podcasts like a crazy person. I'm like, I want to say the word Patreon.
You do it, man.